And joining us now is Toks Omishakin. He is the Secretary of the California State Department of Transportation. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Thanks for having me on.
And you are actually focused on a very important topic, equitable transportation. Tell us, what are the biggest issues you're finding here in California?
Well, for many years, from a transportation standpoint, the way we've invested, we haven't invested in a way that is thinking about every single person that uses the system. So it's been heavily focused on people who probably mostly drive, not people who may need to use other modes like walk, bike, or use public transportation. So we're trying to double back and correct some of those errors and some of those mistakes from the past. And when we made those mistakes in the past, by the way, we also built a highway system that cut off many underserved communities interstate. And so we cut them off physically, and that also meant harm sometimes from a social standpoint and even from a health standpoint, because people with all those cars and the trucks driving through their communities, that meant they were breathing in that poor air, that bad air, but also their access was increasingly limited because of the way we designed and built the highway system. So we're changing that in California. It's a new day, it's a new dawn. Have a Governor Newsom, who's heavily invested in equity, and we're making those investments happen through CalSTA, my organization, and Caltrans, High Speed Rail, all the organizations under it, and of course the partnership with the federal government as well, the Biden-Harris administration connection.
What are the biggest challenges you're finding as you're trying to fix and retrofit some of the things that have already been in place for many, many years?
That's exactly it, is that we've built the system for so many years, for 60 to 70 years. A lot of the major highway investments in the country came down in the 1950s, the mid-50s, and we followed that same pattern for the next 50 to 60, 70 years. And now we have an awakening. There's a bit of a renaissance in our industry. We now understand that what our jobs ultimately is to help people across the board. Not how do you help cars get from one destination to the next destination as quickly as possible, but how do you help people get from one place to the next as safely as possible. So that's been the challenge.
Mm-hmm. And equity is such a big part of that diversity, inclusivity, different perspectives. I guess going forward, what are some of the recommendations or things that you would want to see come out of this industry?
Well, I think the important thing right now is that we're having the right conversations. And those conversations are going from a lot of talk to finally policy and regulation. And from that to resources, meaning dollars, are being put in place to ultimately to implement a lot of the ideas. A few years ago, it was kind of taboo, to be honest with you, to talk about how we've made some poor decisions from a transportation standpoint when it comes to equity. But now that has completely changed. Most people in leadership or middle management or lower level, entry level in our business, they believe in this, they're on board. So it's leading to policy, it's leading to investment. Governor Newsom recently put in place a $47 billion multi-year transportation budget. Outside of the gas tax that we traditionally get, an additional $47 billion. And in doing that, in spending that money, we need to be wise to make sure that we're doing that work through an equity lens for all people at all levels, all genders, all economic status, that they may be on. So it's an exciting time, probably the most exciting time in the history of the transportation and technology profession.
Very good, and we're looking forward to seeing what comes out of Caltrans. Thank you so much, Toks. Good to see you.
Absolutely, good to see you as well. Thanks for having us on.